Hello, Westgate. This is Mr. Rowan coming to you from Westgate Public Radio. And today we have a new edition of The Wild Side. As we come into May, we have a new focus in advocacy, which is wellness, all right? And this includes physical wellness, mental wellness, and social emotional wellness. And so to uncover these topics and get into the heart of what they really mean, we have a couple special guests with us today. Mr. Wise and Miss Washington have agreed to join us. Hello, you two. Good to see you. And so they're going to give their insights on their specialties, and hopefully we have a little back and forth, and I might ask them a few questions, and then we'll wrap it up by looking at their websites and see where you can go to find some resources in case you need them. All right, so cool. So before Mr. Wise and Miss Washington get into it, I wanted to give kind of like a broad definition of wellness, and so I'm going to give that to you now. And so some people think wellness is defined as an active process of becoming aware of and making choices towards a more successful existence. Let's face it, our mind, our body, it's like a machine. We have to fuel it. We have to take care of it. And if we want to be successful and do the things we love to do, our body and our mind have to be running in good order, right? To do those things. And so whatever successful existence means, it can mean different things to different people, but generally it includes and needs to have this pursuit of health, all right? And the World Health Organization describes this as complete physical, mental, and social well-being, all right? And not just merely the absence of disease. So from this definition, we can see that physical, social, and mental and emotional health are all cornerstones of wellness. And so today, Mr. Wise is going to touch on things like nutrition and exercise and sleep. And Miss Washington is going to look at mental wellness and social emotional wellness. And I may chime in a little bit too as we go through this, because these are, both of these things are passions of mine and things that I believe in deeply, as does Westgate. So without further ado, all right, let me introduce to you Mr. Wise, and he's going to touch on aspects of physical wellness. Welcome, Mr. Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Rowan. Thank you for having me. Hello, Westgate Community School. It's Mr. Wise here. Just wanted to welcome everyone to Mental Health and Wellness May. Share a few things to keep in mind when starting to think about your health and wellness this month. So yes, we're in some strange times, and it's very easy at a time like this to fall into some bad habits and forget to take care of yourself. One thing that I like to do, and that I encourage you guys to do, because it's super easy, is just to set up a small list of easily attainable daily health and wellness goals. You know, I know, what does that mean? So I know some of you are staying up late, falling asleep on the couch, stumbling into bed every night. Maybe something you could do is try and brush your teeth twice a day. That's a little easily attainable daily goal. For other people, maybe it's just finding a quiet spot outside to sit for 15 minutes with your thoughts. Maybe you're moving a little slow in the morning. Maybe you could go for a little 15-minute walk in the morning, maybe shoot for like 3 mornings in a row or something. Other people might be struggling with getting their diet in place and eating all the foods they need. Maybe a little goal could be to try and eat a healthy or a piece of fruit and vegetable at every meal. Little things like this that you can kind of incorporate into your daily wellness routine and kind of build from there. Just a couple little ideas. 3 things that you need to keep in mind when talking about wellness. We're going to talk about our healthy diet. We're going to be talking about physical activity and exercise and some sleep. So let's just start off right with a healthy diet. Guys, you need to eat nutritious foods. Not only does it feed your bones and muscles, but your brain, and it improves your ability to learn and stay focused. Eat breakfast every day. Eat something before you work out so you have something to power you through those workouts. Something little like a granola bar or a handful of nuts, just something to give you some fuel. I know you hear it all the time, guys, but you got to eat your fruits and vegetables. Put some color on your plate. Eat something nutritious. I know mom and dad might not always have time to prepare a bunch of fruits and vegetables for dinner. They might not even have them on hand. One thing that I like to do, because I don't always have time, I don't always have them on hand, is I just like to throw them in my morning smoothie. That just helps me ensure that I get a healthy amount of vegetables throughout the day. If you want my smoothie recipe, email me, I'll send it to you. Number 2, regular physical exercise and activity, guys. This does not mean just doing push-ups and burpees and running for miles. Yes, you should be doing these. You'll feel great afterwards, but be active the way you guys like to be active, all right? We talk about it all the time, the benefits of physical activity and exercise being that it elevates your mood, it releases happy chemicals in your brain, endorphins and serotonin, which fight off anxiety and stress. It increases your alertness and your creativity, helps your brain form connections across different parts, and exercise builds brain cells, guys. Exercise builds those brain cells. Be active the way you like to be active. Number 3, sleep. You guys need to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. This is your body's recovery time. It's essential to your body and brain's growth and development. It'll make you more attentive, more active. You'll get more stuff done. You'll be less irritable. Inadequate sleep can lead to mood changes and lowered resistance to illness, guys. It negatively affects your immune system. So with these 3 things in mind, nutrition, exercise, and sleep, stay active and stay healthy.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Wise.
Mr. Rowan.
All solid pieces of advice. And I just know, me personally, if I skip a meal or if I don't eat, maybe I think, oh, I'm too busy to eat, or I don't have time for it. Man, later in the afternoon, sometimes I get a little short-tempered, right? Or I can't focus as well on the work that I need to do and just kind of feel a little blah. So sleep is the same way. If I were to tell people the 2 things that take me off of my balance or my regular kind of Mr. Rowan mood, it would be if I don't get enough to eat or I don't get enough sleep. And those are the 2 things that can kind of knock me off of my game a little bit. So thanks a lot for touching on those and reminding us all the importance of eating right, getting exercise, and getting the right amount of sleep. Cool.
You're welcome.
Awesome. All right, so now we're going to move on to Miss Washington, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about mental wellness and social emotional wellness. So welcome, Miss Washington.
Hi, thanks for having me. And hi, Westgate Community School, and everybody who's going to join in and just learn about all the things we're talking about. So to start off, mental health is defined as the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we behave. It is how our mind encompasses all of this well-being all together, and it's something that we do constantly and daily. So when we talk about mental health, it's in this essence of what we're doing with our mind, our psychological well-being. So you might hear the word psychology come through, and that literally just means the mind and how we're tapping into the different resources that help us to strive to be the best version of ourselves every single day. And it takes practice. It's not easy. So when we talk about wellness, that is the awareness of things that are not easy for us to do when it comes to thinking and how we're feeling and how we're behaving. It is all of these things encompassed into one. And so Mr. Wise touched on a lot of great things that he does for physical well-being that really interplays with the mind. The mind is this vast concept within our brain that takes up so much energy with what we do. So it's really important to make sure that you are really tapping into how you're feeling and how you're thinking and how you're doing, because you want to make sure that you are operating at your best optimal level. So a couple of things that I like to talk about when we talk about mental health is also our social emotional well-being. So when we talk about social emotional well-being, that literally interplays with how we are connected to others. So being social is our social skills, how those interplay with who we're talking to, who we're playing with, who we're hanging out with, who we're interacting with on the internet, how we're behaving in school, how we're behaving with our parents. These are all a part of how our brain operates too. They're natural rules for us. They're things that we do on the daily to make sure that we are being understood, but that we also understand other people. So some things that I really love to do to make sure that I'm operating at a high level within my own mental health and mental well-being is I love to dive into my coping skills. I love to make sure that I am addressing how I'm feeling. And I normally notice that I'm feeling pretty low or not as happy-go-lucky as people describe me when, one, I'm not working out or I'm not exercising and I'm not getting that fuel for myself. If I'm not incorporating my physical exercise or daily practices of that, then my coping skills are also pretty low. I don't focus very well if I'm not working out or if I'm not staying active or if I'm not eating well. Nutrition's huge when it comes to the brain, and Mr. Wise touched on that very well, and to the point where it also impacts how we feel and how we express our emotions. If you're not eating well and you're kind of stuck on the train of eating junk food, or you're not eating at all, which can be a thing too, you lose a lot of focus and you lose a lot of capacity to take care of yourself. And you lose the inability to really express how you're feeling in a positive or conducive way. You want to make sure that you have what you need in your system to make sure that you can fully explain how you're doing. Something else I really love to do is breath work. So whether that's working out and I need to bring more oxygen to my brain, or whether I am having a meltdown or having a tantrum or feeling really angry or frustrated or worried and very anxious, I like to do breath work to help calm down my nervous system. So it really takes the fight or flight mode, which we all know is like, I don't know what to do right now and I'm freaking out, or I'm really scared and I'm really afraid. And it helps me to just calm down. So if I do some breath work, maybe I'm taking deep breaths and I'm inhaling for 4 seconds and then I'm exhaling for 4 seconds, and I do that into like a square motion. That's just an example of trying to stay grounded. There's also other grounding techniques I like to do too for my mental health and well-being, such as looking for 5 things that I can see, trying to identify 4 things I can smell, trying to identify 3 things I can touch. Some similar things like that can be really helpful. I know that a lot of you got to see some things that were on my wall of the wall of Hope and Cope near my office, and there's some great grounding skills and tools that you can always be used for that. And there's some great things that are on my website too that Mr. Rowan will show you here towards the end to help with that. Some other things that are really great for mental health and well-being is therapy. And some people like to incorporate physical activity and therapy together. Some people like to do walk and talk therapy, which I think is really effective. That's literally you walking and talking with your therapist and getting that movement and that activity going. So movement also helps your brain to just like gain some clarity and some focus in the moment to be able to express what is happening for you. Some people like to do outdoor therapy where they're literally doing outdoor survival. That's also great too. Hiking and talking to somebody is also a great way of doing that as well. Talking to a loved one, that's also another way to establish some more coping skills. Another thing I really love to do that really helps me out is yoga. I like to try to practice yoga at least up to 4 times a week. That helps me to just create a space for myself, especially when I know I need to think things through, but I also need to kind of not overthink at the same time. So it creates a lot of this balance between my brain and my body that allows me to do some deep breathing, do some deep thinking, but also to just let things go and let things be as they are, because I love to stay present in the moment. And that's a great way of also establishing that mental awareness. So the one thing I also wanted to touch on too is When you are physically active and you're eating well, and you're also really engaged in your own mental well-being, you start to engage in a lot more self-positive talk. You start to talk really well to yourself. You start to give yourself kudos and compliments. You start to tell yourself like, oh, it's okay. I have another chance. You give yourself more chances. Then that also enhances your self-esteem. So all of these things interplay with each other so well to make sure that we are able to function as our best selves every single day. It's hard to function as ourselves every single day, but that's what this practice is for. And that is what mental wellness is, and physical wellness. Wellness in general is the awareness.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Washington. Lots of great tips and advice there for all of us to ponder and think about. The world we're living in today is drastically different than that a few months ago, for sure. And that's taken a lot of us out of our daily normal routines. And I'm glad both of you kind of touched on routines and things that you're actually doing. Because we're working from home, students are learning from home, and that's just a different routine than they're normally in. So I think coming up with new at-home routines are a good way to ground oneself and to make sure we're getting what we need physically and mentally. For sure, I can only be at the computer screen for so long before I need to get up and I need to go for a walk, even if that's just walking out to the back deck and letting the sun shine on my face for a couple minutes, going to the kitchen, getting a little snack, having a glass of water. We need oxygen, we need sunlight, we need water. These are like basic foundational things that we need to exist. And we've all touched on the connection between the physical and the mental parts of who we are, and how they're really not separate at all, but they're all together in one thing. And if we didn't have a tire on our car, it wouldn't go anywhere. If we didn't have gas in the engine, it wouldn't go anywhere. If we don't change the oil, things lock up, right? Like, it's the same with like human mechanics. If we don't fuel ourselves, if we don't go to the mechanic every so often, right? Get a checkup. If we don't find loved ones to talk to from time to time and share the things that we're going through emotionally, things that are hard, things that we're feeling. We don't have our favorite yoga practice or PE workout. Things can go sideways and get a little off track. And this month, we just want to give you suggestions, give you ideas, and remind everybody that remember to take care of your physical well-being and your mental well-being, and that there's people out here in the virtual world like us, at the other end of the email, at the other end of the counselor request, that are willing to listen and help you if you need a workout or if you need someone to talk to or something like that. Just want to remind everybody that we're here for you, okay? And even though you don't see us every day, we still care about you the same way, and we're here to give you what you need the best that we can every single day. All right? And so let me share my screen here, and I'm going to go to the school website, and I'm going to walk you through places you can go to find some resources. All right? All right. So here we are at the Westgate Community School website. And if we go to, if you click on academics, if you follow my cursor and you scroll down to the counselor's corner and you click on that, it'll bring up Miss Washington's page. My internet's running a little bit slow here. And I just want to point out over here on the left, counselor meeting request. There's that link right there. You can click on that, request a meeting if you need that. And then if you scroll down here to the bottom, you can see lots of different resources. Maybe I scrolled through too fast, but I was thinking about these two links here during distance learning, social and emotional resources and activities by grade level, and mental health resources in case you need some of those or you think you might need some of those. So these two links are great to click on. And for instance, if you click on the social and emotional page, you can find your grade level, right? Here's some general things for parents. And then if you scroll down, you can find different links for kindergarten all the way up through high school. So lots of good stuff there for you if you need it or want to check it out. And then if we scroll back up to the top under academics, if you go to classroom pages, you can scroll down to specials. And once again, if I'll just pick, let's see, first and second grade PE class, all the grades are there. So whether you're supposed to be in PE now or not, if you need something to do physically or some physical activities, head on over here to Mr. Wise's page. And if you click on it, you might see this says Mr. Gale, but anybody can do this activity, right? And
it's
so
for Mr. Gale's, yeah, it's for
yeah.
Mr. Gale's advocacy.
Cool.
And yeah, if you're not in the lower grades and these activities don't look interesting to you, you're looking for more workouts, or you're looking for some basketball skills to work on or something, email me. All right, I've got activities, I've got more resources. I don't have everything posted on my webpage.
Awesome, very good. And then I will be, just like Miss Valenza sent out a weekly newsletter for the month of April, I'll be sending out a weekly newsletter as well, and that will have a couple things to do, some physical, emotional, mental, wellness bingo boards that you can play and see if you can get bingo, some other links and tips, and I'm creating a virtual calm down room on my restorative practices page, so I'll send that to you as well. And that if you need some breathing, there'll be some YouTube videos on breathing. If you need some yoga, some good music to listen to, different things you can do, some drawing and coloring and different things you can do to just like, whew, I need to take a break from all this and just calm down like Miss Washington talked about. So look for that to be coming out. And I think that about wraps up our interview for today. Is there anything else you guys want to add, or?
Stay well, Westgate.
Stay well, stay healthy, and make sure that you are paying attention to your mind and your psychological well-being too.
Cool. Well, thank you both for joining me today, and goodbye, Westgate. We're signing off, and we'll see you around the corner, okay? Bye, everybody.